This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
The X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X-Zone Radio Show or endorsed in any manner by Rob McConnell, Relmar McConnell Media Company, the X-Zone Broadcast Network, its affiliated networks, stations, employees, or advertisers.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Welcome back to the X-Zone, everyone. I am Rob McConnell. We're coming to you from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, on the X-Zone Broadcast Network and our growing family of broadcast affiliates right around the world and on several satellite programming providers. If you'd like to send an email, studio@xzoneradiotv.com on all social media sites, X-Zone Radio TV, and our website, you've got it, www.xzoneradiotv.com. X-Zone Nation, how would you like to be part of UFO history? Now, I'm serious. You know I am. 2,000 of you every hour go to this website, www.cubesatfordisclosure.com, and check it out. And I know for a fact that many of you are becoming part of this historical venture that we're part of. So once again, www.cubesatfordisclosure.com. I think I said CubeSat for Discovery before. It's CubeSatForDisclosure.com. My guest this hour is Donald Mazzella, and everybody's heard the rumors in the news about, what's this young guy's name, Craig? Danny Williams being the illegitimate son of, dare I say his name? Of course, Bill Clinton. There's been a lot of talk surrounding Clinton's many affairs over the past years and how numbers keep increasing. Danny Williams, who is now 30 X-Zone Nation, claims that he was conceived during an affair that Bill had with his mother, who was a prostitute at the time when he was the governor of Arkansas. Now, this is not the first time this claim has come to light, X-Zone Nation, but it has never really been put to rest, even though it has been denied. Joining me now to try and make some semblance of what is going on in the world today is a gentleman who is well respected and well known in the media. His name is Donald Mazzella, as I said before. He is a political and lifestyle expert who has been seen on MSNBC, Bloomberg, and the Wall Street Journal. He is COO of Information Strategies, a company that helps business managers improve profits. He currently oversees a print and internet publication network centered around Small Business Digest, with more than 3.2 million opt-in small business readers and healthcare industry stakeholders. Don, welcome to the X-Zone, and what do you think of the political circus that you in the United States are witnessing and have to contend with?
Oh, well, for a reporter, the more the merrier and the happier the fun. I'm afraid I can't go along with what a lot of people think. I think this is an old story rehashed by some rabid Donald Trump fans. It's been out there for years. It's interesting. I was reading an account which said that in 1997, one of the whether it was the Star or one one of the other publications, did a DNA test, which was at best inconclusive and at worst indicated that Bill Clinton could not be this man's father. But like an old rumor, it recirculates, and now, given all the new news, etc., it came up again. As far as I can see, and I've talked to people over the years on this thing, it's a non-story. And by the way, you dignified it by saying it was an affair. Bill Clinton admits that he paid her $200 to have sex behind the bush near her housing project. So I hardly call it an affair. I call it that down in Arkansas they call him a horn dog. And this is just another example of it. So I'd love to go along with you and talk all night about it, but I really and truly believe that there's very little to the story, except that it's part of the shenanigans that's going on right now in our presidential race.
All right, stand by, Don. You and I have to take a short break. We'll be back in about 2 minutes. Exonation, Don Mazzella is our special guest this hour. Like I said, this guy is a media pro. He's been seen on MSNBC, in the Wall Street Journal. He's a veteran newsman. He's worked for NBC. And we're going to be talking to Don not only about the political situation, but we're also going to dig deep into the small business aspect and how small business can actually change the way that people think, live, and how the country is run. I'll be back on the other side of this break as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away.
This is Kevin Randall. For nearly 30 years, I have been investigating the case of the Roswell UFO. I have interviewed hundreds of people and stood on the crash site. Now in Roswell in the 21st century, I have reviewed dozens of hours of audio and videotaped interviews, examined hundreds of files that relate to the crash, and have returned to Roswell in an attempt to put all that information into the proper perspective. For the first time in Roswell in the 21st century, I have made a dispassionate reevaluation of all that material and provide a new look at what happened. This is a book that clears away all the clutter that has hidden the truth for so long, strips away the various lies that surround the case, exposes the Air Force attempts at cover-up, and found a core of solid information that tells us all where the case stands today. Roswell in the 21st century will be available in just a few weeks. For more information, please visit my website at www.kevinrandall.blogspot.com.
Gibbs A. Williams, Ph.D., is a practicing psychoanalyst, supervisor, researcher, and author in New York City. Much of his life has been dedicated to understanding nature and the uses of meaningful coincidences or synchronicities. His radical and original non-Jungian, non-mystical, non-magical theory of synchronicities illuminates much of the fog surrounding this challenging and perplexing topic. His ideas and manners are fresh, presented in a style that is both entertaining and highly informative. He is also an expert on crisis intervention, specially focused on violence reduction for the police and citizens, mastering anxiety, frustration, and stress without the use of medication, and effectively preventing and treating heroin addiction. Dr. Williams can be contacted at his email address at gwwilliamsny11@aol.com or visit his website at www.drgibbswilliams.com.
Shamanism is recognized as a method to access the quantum level. Mastery of shamanic skills puts spiritual information and healing power into your hands. Path Home Shamanic Art School, a bonded Colorado certified occupational school, has met rigorous state standards, ensuring its director and instructors have the qualifications to teach the shamanic arts. Path Home offers its certification program in blocks of study. Block 1, a 5-day intensive, will be held in the beautiful mountain town of Coaldale, Colorado, October 13th through 18th. Registration deadline is September 12th. Experience journey trance, power animals, helping spirits, sacred space, and life purpose. Come discover your power. Join me, Gwilda Wiyaka, in the magical world of shamanism. Call 303-775-3431 or visit findyourpathhome.com.
Explanation, Don Mazzella is our special guest this hour. There's two websites I'd like you to jot down here. www.smallbusinessdigestmag.com. And Don has just released a new book that came out today as you and I are talking. It's called Recalculating 97 Plus Experts on Driving Small Business Growth. And we're going to be talking to Don about these two books very shortly. But Don, we were talking about the presidential elections. Let's see, the first debate was last Monday. The debate for the vice presidents was yesterday. Sunday is a town hall meeting for both Secretary Clinton and Donald Trump. And it seems that each one of these candidates are having way too much fun digging up dirt on the other. And you can actually see the split in the media, which media is going for Clinton and which media is going for Trump. We talked about Danny Williams, but what about this birther thing that Trump is on? Hillary started it, Trump carries it, and then, he's yes, he's not an American. Then a couple of weeks ago he says, you know what, he is, let's just drop it.
Really, they should. Donald Trump has a bad habit of talking off the cuff. It's all well and good when you're a businessman, but certainly not when you're a presidential candidate. I've been told by some of his advisors that he did not prepare for the first debate in the way that it should have been done, and he tried to ad-lib his way out, which I think proved disastrous.
Oh, it was, yeah.
I'm told that this week he has disdained from even reading the manuals they've put together for this next one, but when they're trying to rein him in, the trouble with Donald Trump, if you can call it trouble, is he's been too successful the way he is.
Mm-hmm.
Look, we've said all along, you're running a terrible campaign. We said it the first day he announced, and we're saying it now as he's the presidential candidate. And he can turn back to us and say, I did it my way and it worked. In fact, I've often thought that his theme song should be Frank Sinatra's My Way.
I agree.
If you think about it, but he doesn't realize that he's in this crucial months, everything he says and does is going to have an effect. If you read the polls, he's even with Mrs. Clinton. If you talk to the Republican and Democratic insiders, they feel that right now he's got a lead, and the only thing he can do is blow it. She is acting as if she can't lose it, and in the process she is losing it. You know as well as I do. In football, prevent defenses, as one coach said, all it does is prevent victory. And that's the case with him. And I give you one interesting statistic that was given to me. In his last speech on Sunday live, he had 25,000 Floridians overflowing an airplane hangar. Mrs. Clinton can't do better than 1,500 on our best days. Does that tell you something about what's happening out there?
Yeah, well, as I see it, as a Canadian, watching what is happening to our neighbors to the south, where a great number of people that I highly respect and I call friends, is that people want to change. They're tired of the established political people that are drawn towards Washington, and they see Trump as a brash businessman who just says it as it is. And in my opinion, it takes a business person to run a country, not a politician. It takes a business person who's not afraid to say what's on his mind within reason. Within reason, I agree with you, within reason. And a business person and president that other leaders will respect. You know, over the years, I've watched the respect for President Obama go right down the drain. And I think the biggest part and the biggest blunder that happened to him where the world stood up and took notice, especially Russia, is when he drew those lines in the sand concerning Syria, and he never backed up the crossing of the line with any action.
Well, coming from a Canadian, that's a very good analysis, and I couldn't agree more with you. I was told an interesting you're absolutely right. The world, despite what Mr. Obama thinks, really does not respect him. When you have the president of the Philippines telling you to go to hell, and the Philippines have been one of our staunchest allies for 50 years, you know the United States is in trouble. I've covered many wars for the United States as a reporter, and I've seen how Americans are around the world, in conflict and not, and it's a real shame what's happening today. So I couldn't agree with you more, and the fact that Mr. Trump is somewhat of a novice in this field may be to his advantage rather than a disadvantage. Make no mistake, whoever comes into office, the first 6 months, they're going to be severely tested, and this nation is going to be severely tested by some event, whether it's a smuggled nuclear bomb or something else, or it's going to happen. And the interesting thing, I happen to love the Canadians. I've been on your warships. I've been with your army units. And, whether we like it or not, we're in this together.
Yes.
What happens in the United States is going to affect Canada in some way. So you have a vested interest as well. And what you said is absolutely true. I travel around the country talking to people. I was in a working class luncheon place today, and there were 13 tables occupied besides ours, and I went to every one of them and asked just one question: how do you feel the country is going, and how do you feel? What do you think has to be done? And not one of them disagreed and said we needed significant change. Not change, significant change. I didn't put the words in their mouth.
Yeah.
It's this country is ripe for change. There was a great Washington Post reporter named David Broder, who unfortunately has passed away. And before every election, he took the month of October, and he just traveled the country talking to people. And he always called the election because he went out and talked to the people, and didn't do it by polls, didn't do it by anything else, but talking to people. And if you talk to people, whether it was Reno recently or Dallas or Los Angeles, you feel this undercurrent of unease, a feeling that this country needs to change in order to succeed.
What about Secretary Clinton's email scandal? What's your take on that?
Well, she should have been indicted. I was on a program last night with a constitutional lawyer, and the law's clear. I mean, the Clintons have gotten passes on all of their past indiscretions. I'm talking now as a journalist. I'm not talking. My political beliefs have nothing to do with what. If you ask me as a journalist to write a story, or as an historian, there's no question that they've done wrong things. The emails, the foundation. I mean, that foundation is a joke. and you have a woman who still cannot tell you why she used a private server when everybody else went to a government server.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's obvious. I don't want you to see my emails.
Yeah.
And she bent over backwards. I was at that first press conference where she said she didn't like to carry two iPhones. Then it got low. Each time it gets more convoluted. I blame. Bernie Sanders admits the worst mistake. If Bernie Sanders had brought up about the phones and the emails, he would be the presidential candidate today. And why Donald Trump does not bring it up is beyond me.
And
I don't know whether to tell you when I'm finished or not. So we don't have dead air is terrible.
Sure it is, but sometimes dead air reflects that both participants are thinking, and thinking in my book is good. Okay, you've got Comey, who was the director of the FBI. Isn't he a Republican? And doesn't Comey's brother actually do the Clintons' income tax?
I believe so. I'll take your word for it. But I will tell you what the FBI people have told me over the last month, at least 4 or 5. They are appalled that the recommendation from the investigators was that she should be indicted. The last session on that Saturday when she was interviewed, it was scripted. They were told to stand down. They were not to do what they normally did. And if you read the redacted testimony that came out, you can see that that's not the way the FBI normally goes and asks someone who's suspected of a heinous crime of jeopardizing the secrets of the United States. And today, just today, the FBI has indicted someone else for stealing units of computer units with highly classified data. Now, what's he going to say? I didn't intend to do it, but I did it. I mean, it's going to be interesting whether they can convict him or not. So you can get my indignation as a citizen. I get very angry. As a reporter, I try to put it in the best terms. But you cannot write it as a reporter, unless you're with the New York Times lately, and not say, wait a second. She has a server in her home that with all of the various people that are trying to get into, and they succeed at Yahoo and every place else, and then you're saying, I didn't want to carry two iPhones. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Don, stand by. You and I have to take a break. We'll be back very shortly. X-Zone Nation, Don Mazzella is our special guest this hour. Here's 2 websites I'd like you to jot down. The first one is www.smallbusinessdigestmag.com. That's the first one. And the second one, Don, what is the second website for your new book?
Recalculating.biz.
There you go.
B-I-Z.
There you go, X-Zone Nation. Don and I will be back on the other side of this break as we continue here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't forget, check out www.cubesatfordisclosure.com.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone radio show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, High Tech with Corey Kay, and every minute of the 24/7, 365 programming of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 712-432-9459, courtesy of TalkStream Live. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 712-432-9459 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 712-432-9459 for the best of paranormal, new age, thought-provoking, sci-fi radio programming 24/7, 365.
Wouldn't you love to know the secret to everything? Well then, meet Dr. Kimberly McGeorge and her cutting-edge breakthrough knowledge that combines science with possibility. Dr. Kimberly brings real-life answers and healing to those open to alternative solutions. She teaches solution-based programs and classes that will change all areas of your life forever. Specializing in conscious creation, intuitive readings, and energy medicine, you can rapidly shift health, relationships, business, and money and abundance challenges quickly. Receive her best-selling book, Secret to Everything, at no cost by going to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone. That's right, transformation can start now. Just go to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone and receive Dr. Kimberly's book for free.
While science pursues fact, magic accesses the quantum level, bridging random facts to form truth. As long as science and magic remain separate and polarized, the truth cannot be known. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka. Join me on the Science of Magic radio program, dedicated to unification and evolution of consciousness. During each episode, I'll be speaking with experienced and respected scientists and mystics. From astrologers to astronomers, from medical doctors to shaman, the scientific method to dowsing and intuition, we'll weave together information from seemingly divergent practices to promote unity and enlightenment. Join me, Gwilda Wiyaka, and the Science of Magic right here on the Mutual Broadcast Network. For more information, visit www.thescienceofmagic.net.
I am Dr. Carl O'Helvey, founder, president of a new cancer foundation focusing on evidence-based physical, mental, and spiritual interventions, including natural cancer cures, prayer, meditation, affirmations, nutrition, and other related holistic cancer prevention and cure modalities. These are used in cancer education, research, and financing care. I ask for your help to continue this important work by donating at www.holisticcancerfoundation.com.
Welcome back, everyone. Don Mazzella is our special guest of this hour. Two websites, www.smallbusinessdigest.mag and www.recalculating97.biz. One more question about the campaign, and then I'd like to move on to talk about your two books and how, we can enrich the economy. Everybody's making a lot of noise about Donald Trump not supplying or sharing his income tax forms. How important is that?
The answer is, to most people, it's unimportant. I really don't want to know your tax return. It's not going to affect how you do your show or how I guest on your show.
Well, sure it would, because you'd cry a lot when you saw my tax forms. I get a sympathy card from the government.
So do I. But let's face it, when you can get a $900 million tax loss carry forward, you're doing pretty good. As I had dinner with lunch today at this place with a 75-year-old ex-military man and lawyer, and he said, I don't care about his tax return. I just wish I had the money he had left over from that those debacles.
Yeah.
The answer is um, you know, Hillary Clinton is playing a Washington game, and Donald Trump is playing a 2016 game. Well, I think they're going to learn. Both parties are going to learn that what worked in for the past 50 years ain't going to work anymore. You're going to see a realignment of the parties.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to see a realignment in the thinking, because let's face it. The debt that we have, the nation's debt we have right now is insupportable. Hillary Clinton's newest idea is that we're going to save Social Security by taxing the rich more. The rich do not get a majority of their money from salaries. So what does she want to do? She wants to add greater excise taxes to our salaries. It just means that the rich will move their how they get compensated into other forms, and the people who earn the money and earn it from various things will have to pay more if her idea came through. So how should I answer it? I know I'm going far afield. Basically, most people don't give a damn.
Yeah.
And I think that's the long and the short of it. But it also tells you the paucity of her campaign. If she can get the New York Times to write a story about a $91 million and a tax return.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Trump, I'd like to see his tax return to see how I could make some money the way he does. But people will be surprised. I don't think he's as rich as he claims, and I don't think he's as poor as they believe. But so what? Means that he won't take that much money when he goes into the White House. You can rest assured that President Obama will demand $500,000 a speech when he leaves the White House. And I point out that Hillary Clinton said when they left the White House they were poor, and now she's a billionaire. How does she do it? God only knows.
3 words: the Clinton Foundation.
My radio partner on my show says that all the time.
Yeah,
and I tend to agree.
Tell us about small business in America. Which of the 2 candidates, if elected, would be better for small business?
No doubt, Trump. There's no question. Hillary Clinton has never met a payroll in her life. Hillary Clinton has never worked for anyone in her life. She's worked for government, etc. Mm-hmm. She has no idea. She was at a forum a couple of years ago. I was not there, but I heard about this. And some of the terms that were, it was a Chamber of Commerce type of event. And she was sitting on the dais, and the president of the organization was next to her. And he came away from the conversation, and his only words to me were, "My God, she doesn't know a thing about business." So that has shaped my opinion ever since. I hate to use hearsay, but I think the man would be embarrassed today right now if I mention his name. But he's a fairly well-known name, and we were talking later on. But the point is, Donald Trump understands. He understands also. There's another story out today that he contributed to the campaigns of the attorney generals that are investigating him. Well, that tells me he's a smart guy.
Yeah.
I would do that too if I were being investigated. Okay.
You see, if I would have been up there as Donald Trump and she would have said, "Well, show us your tax returns," you know what I would have said? I emailed them to you.
Good idea.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have too. I sit on a medical marijuana board.
All right.
Dispensary in New Jersey.
Uh-huh.
And before I could join the board, they put me through such a thorough investigation. They even found the lawsuit that I didn't even know about. But so I know I'm clean. And my view is you turn over your tax return, and anybody wants to see it, go right ahead. They're not going to find any surprises. Nor would I think that they would find that many surprises in Trump. they'd find something that some enterprising reporter would then go for, but in the long run, it won't make a bit of difference. This election is going to be decided on two issues: who comes up with the better economic plan for moving forward, and who does the job of saying, I may be bad, but I'm good for the country. And I think Trump will eventually win out on that one.
I agree with you, my friend, and that's just coming from a Canadian observer. Let's talk about your new...
By the way, I'm not a Trump supporter. Okay, I make that clear. I think any other Republican would have wiped the floor with Hillary Clinton, but that's another story.
Oh, okay, let me ask you this since you opened that door. Ted Cruz did a 300, he just did a turn and supported Trump. What did that tell you?
That he's a smart politician.
Yeah.
I will tell you a story, which is I was up for jury duty in federal court in New Jersey, and it involved the case, one of the cases that made Christie governor in New Jersey about the politicians. And the judge asked me, was there any reason I couldn't serve on that on the jury? And I said, yes, Your Honor. I've been covering politics in New Jersey for 40 years, and I've yet to meet an honest politician.
So obviously you were excused from jury duty.
So was the whole panel, because I'm...
Love it. Love it.
You want to know the best part about it?
Yeah.
As I walked out, they were all congratulating me and thanking me.
Recalculating 97 plus, experts on driving small business growth. How do we turn the business around using small business and entrepreneurship?
Well, we've had Small Business Digest. I'm glad you asked the question. We've had Small Business Digest for 16 years, and over that time, with as you indicate, more millions of readers and etc.
Yep.
It really boils down to three or four major things that are key to success. Number one is good employees. Number two is managing your finances correctly. Number three, and these can be in different orders depending who you talk to, know your customer and treasure your customer. And the fourth one, which is just have a product or service and make sure it's the best it possibly could. Those are the four things. And what we did over the years is we found people who articulated that or practice it. There were 55 presidents of various corporations contributing. There is Marcus Luminos. There is J.D. Power. There is John Scully in there. There are experts, people who over time have expressed these ideas, either us or other people, and we asked them each to make a contribution of about 1,000 words. And we put it all together into a book that we're kind of proud of. This is our fourth book that we've done in the field, but this is the first time we did something like this, and it's to me amazing that you may know I also do every Wednesday morning I do a podcast on small business but there's always a consistency of thought. That last one sometimes translates that last thought into passion. You have to have a passion for what you do. You have a passion for your radio show. I can tell that by the way you do it. I have a passion for being a reporter. If I could, I would be a reporter all my life, for the rest of my life, rather than an editor that I am now. The really successful people are in business are those that have a passion for their company, for themselves. And that's what all this book is about.
In your opinion, what is the number one small business that people should get into?
What they're most passionate about. Uh, 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 it, I don't mean to be facetious.
Right.
Right now, it's very. There are three things happening. One is it's relatively easy now to get into business because the internet has made it possible so that a lot of your infrastructure that you used to have to build,
Yep.
you can now have in your computer.
Exactly.
So, so that means that the ease of entry is there, and no matter if you have a great idea, it's easy for other people to duplicate it. So you have to have a passion. Excuse me. Sure. Right now, this country is going through a major change. Whereas in some respects, as Canada, you're still primarily manufacturing. But we are in, and we will continue to be in a service rather than a manufacturing, but environment. And what you should go into is something that people need and will need, regardless of whether we have an expansion or a recession. If you want to pick a subject, and it's got to be something that you know and that you love. You can go out there and say, I was just talking to a woman Friday who's opened, and don't laugh at this, a needlepoint store. And I said, well, who in this this age would want to open a needle store? She said, because right now people are going back to needlewear.
All right, stand by, Don. We've got to take our final break. X-Zone Nation, Don Mazzella is our special guest, and we'll both be back on the other side of this break as we continue here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away.
As host of Dialogue with Divinity, I am thrilled to join the X-Zone Broadcast Network and their growing number of affiliates. My quest for a connection to the divine ignited my successful career path as an international spiritual counselor for over 40 years, an author of 4 books, and well-known metaphysical educator. My clients call me their spiritual mama. So my job is to offer you a radio show to help you grow spiritually with wisdom and get specific tools from guests who are experts in their field. Tune in to Dialogue with Divinity and be part of the conversation with Spirit. My goal, your happy soul. For more information, please visit my website at johannacarroll.com.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone radio show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, High Tech with Corey Kay, and every minute of the 24/7, 365 programming of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 712-432-9459, courtesy of TalkStream Live. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 712-432-9459 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 712-432-9459 for the best of paranormal, new age, thought-provoking, sci-fi radio programming 24/7, 365.
Coming soon to the X-Zone Broadcast Network is A Different Perspective with me, Kevin Randall, as your host. We'll be taking a close look at what is happening in the world of UFOs today with side trips into the paranormal. Guests will range from those who are household names to those who have a different perspective on a variety of topics. No topic will be taboo, but there will be tough questions asked as we all search for the truth about UFOs, the paranormal, and those things that excite us. Sometimes we'll agree with a guest and sometimes we won't, but we'll try to keep the program topical. For those of you who would like to read, be sure to visit www.kevinrandall.blogspot.com and remember to listen to the other fine programs on the X Zone Broadcast Network at www.xzbn.net. This is Kevin Randall. For nearly 30 years, I have been investigating the case of the Roswell UFO. I have interviewed hundreds of people and stood on the crash site. Now in Roswell in the 21st century, I have reviewed dozens of hours of audio and videotaped interviews, examined hundreds of files that relate to the crash, and have returned to Roswell in an attempt to put all that information into the proper perspective. For the first time in Roswell in the 21st century, I have made a dispassionate reevaluation of all that material and provide a new look at what happened. This is a book that clears away all the clutter that has hidden the truth for so long, strips away the various lies that surround the case, exposes the Air Force attempts at cover-up, and found a core of solid information that tells us all where the case stands today. Roswell in the 21st century will be available in just a few weeks. For more information, please visit my website at www.kevinrandall.blogspot.com.
What Happened in Benghazi is revealed by Nicholas Genix, author of Obama, Islam, and Benghazi. He informs the American people that President Obama deceived them by advocating a strong foreign policy prior to the 2012 presidential election, and Hillary Clinton supported this deception. As the title infers, there is a connection between Obama, Islam, and Benghazi. Ample evidence informs Americans that Obama's early indoctrination in the Quran developed an affinity for Islam, why the Quran is the source of discontent in many countries, and why the Obama foreign policy deception led to poor military action and caused the loss of American lives in Benghazi. Genix provides 36 questions for the Select Committee on Benghazi to validate if Americans are justified to mistrust President Obama and Hillary Clinton. An overview of Obama, Islam, and Benghazi is presented on the website www.futureofgodamen.com. That's www.futureofgodamen.com. Afterlife expert Roberta Grimes was the first one to say that dying can be fun. Now her best-selling book, The Fun of Dying, is available in stores worldwide. So if you wonder whether death ends life, how it feels to die, or what heaven might be like, The Fun of Dying was written for you. And if you have always been afraid of death, or if you worry that your life has no meaning, let The Fun of Dying ease your fears and bring new meaning to your life. Nothing said in The Fun of Dying is based on the teachings of any religion. Instead, Roberta draws on evidence to explain how death happens, how it feels, and what comes next. A lot of the best death-related evidence was produced in the first half of the 20th century. When it is put together with recent discoveries, it tells a consistent and amazing story. Roberta Grimes blogs and answers questions at robertagrimes.com. Her wonderful book, The Fun of Dying, is available on Amazon and at stores worldwide wherever books are sold.
Welcome back to the X Zone, everyone. Don Mazzella is our very special guest. Don is a former reporter. He worked with NBC. He's been on MSNBC, Wall Street Journal. As I said, he's a veteran newsman and political commentator. Two websites, www.smallbusinessdigestmag.com and recalculating97.biz. Let me ask you one question about your past, my friend. What were some of the big stories that you covered in your day?
Well, Nixon going to China. I'm old enough for the JFK assassination.
Wow.
Let's see. Covered a few wars. But I think the most momentous thing that I covered was President Nixon's second visit to China. I think that had a world-shaking effect, and I'm proud to have been part of that.
That is super to hear. When people hear of President Nixon, all they can think of is that picture of him making the peace signs as he's walking into the Marine One, after being, what's the word that they use? Impeached.
What if?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a shame. Someone asked me yesterday if Donald Trump is elected president, will the media still go after him? And I said in spades, but not as badly as they went after President Nixon. Yeah. And nobody could do it as effectively, because then the media was trusted by the people, and today it's down to 27%. So whatever they did would be taken with a grain of salt. But I was part of the White House press corps for part of his time, and I know from whence I speak. And I'm somewhat of a pariah at their parties, etc., because I've written about it. But that's perhaps for another conversation. Given time, he will go down. If for nothing else, the opening of China it was a monumental feat, and he was the only man that could do it. A man or woman, if they want to be politically correct, but he was the only one that can do it, and he did it. And Henry Kissinger,
yep.
For all of his faults that people claim, enabled him to do it. And I mean, I could go on and on. I feel like any good reporter, I hate injustice. Mm-hmm. And what was done to Nixon was, in my view, an injustice.
I think that what Gerald Ford did was commendable when he gave a presidential pardon to President Nixon. I thought that was the right thing to do.
He thought so too.
Yeah.
And again, another underrated president, Gerald Ford. I always remember they called him a bumbling president, but yet he was an all-American at Michigan, and so he. I always laugh at that one, but you're right. You're absolutely right about that. I was in a newsroom of a major newspaper when that came down, and the howls from the journalists at that time. But I remember, again, one of the great journalists, David Broder, we happened to be on the same assignment at one point, and he said, no, it was the right choice and done by a decent man, yeah. Referring to Gerald Ford.
It was a class act. It truly was. As a newsman, how come the media isn't going after Gary Johnson with a vengeance? Like, this guy's a moron. He didn't even know where Aleppo was.
Oh, because he's a non-entity. That's a damn good question. He's probably going to get 11% of the vote in the presidential election. From a poll I've seen and from a focus group I've heard about, mm-hmm. He will probably get 11% of the vote, taking away from both Trump and Hillary Clinton. It's an interesting point. I had a philosophy professor named Sidney Hook in college, and he said the right and the left, if you move far enough, they come together. And in Johnson, they probably have found their person, because he's so far on the outskirts that both of them will love him.
What was your opinion of the vice presidential candidate, the vice presidential debates last night?
You want my honest? I didn't watch it.
Okay.
Okay. I felt I try to find how people react to it, mm-hmm. rather than the debate itself. I saw excerpts this morning. Everybody seems to be indicating that the Democrat was a little over the top.
Yeah.
But I had predicted that because if you're a Democrat today, what are you going to run on? Obamacare, where the wheels are falling off? Peace in the Middle East, where it's not? What issue can you, as a Democrat, run on today that will say to the people, we really want you reelected? They're finding that out in the senatorial and House races. Everybody's worried about the Republicans losing the Senate. Well, I assure you, they're not going to do it because A, the Democrats don't have a sound bench, and B, what are these candidates running on? What can they say the Democratic Party today can do? Spend more money? Well, most people think the Democratic Party sends it to blacks and illegal immigrants. If you go and do as some of the deep polling has done, there's a strong undercurrent. I don't know if you're aware, but it just came out from the Census Bureau that 13% of all Americans are either legal or illegal immigrants, versus less than 12% are blacks. Yet we're seeing all that. I'm not being racist or anything else.
I understand that.
I'm simply citing the Department of Labor. Yet for the still majority white, what did she call them? Improbables or
deplorables?
What did Hillary call them?
Deplorables.
Deplorables. This is still a country where English is still the first language.
Yep.
And it's interesting. One of the most hated things in America today is hit 2 for Spanish, for Espanol. You have no idea how that can bring out visceral images from people. They've had several studies which have been, quite frankly, suppressed because they go against about being politically correct. But there is a lot of anger in America today, a lot of feeling that they are not being listened to. When Hillary Clinton says we're going to put all the coal miners out of work, what does that do for the state of West Virginia? I mean,
destroys it.
There's a lot of things going.
We've got about 3 minutes left for the entire hour, but I would like to get your take on one thing since you covered it. The JFK assassination. Do you think that this was a conspiracy? Do you think that the perpetrators involved in the assassination have been brought to justice, or was it a lone gunman, Lee Harvey Oswald?
You know, I was part of the NBC News team. As a copy, I will tell you, but still, we spent 6 months afterwards in preparation for the Warren Commission report, and then 3 months after that. And even I could shoot the same type of rifle as Oswald used. Obviously, without the accuracy of he did. I have always held to the one assassin theory. Everybody that I've talked to at that time who worked on it, and for years afterwards, felt the same way. Mark Lane made a fortune out of being the first guy to come out with the conspiracy theory, and since then, no one slept. But in the process, if there was a conspiracy, given all this time and the propensity for people for blabbing, wouldn't you think there would be one single person that would come forward and say,
exactly.
Yeah, there was?
Exactly. I agree with you. You know what? Time is up, my friend. I want to thank you so much for joining us and for sharing. I'd love to have you back on in the future just to talk about your books. And if that works for you, we'll make it happen. And all I can say is...
Please do. I would love to. You're a very intelligent host, which sometimes I don't get.
Well, I thank you very much for your kind words. And it's been a pleasure and honor talking to you. I look forward to our next chat.
Same here.
Good night, Don, and thank you very much for joining us. Quickly, Don, let our listeners know your websites again, where they can get your books.
Recalculating.biz and smallbusinessdigestmag.com.
And, of course, Exo Nation, we're going to put these links on to the archives that will be available on our website, on iTunes, on Vimeo, on YouTube, and all the social media sites. Well, that's it for tonight. I'll be back tomorrow night at 11 o'clock as once again we cross the time-space continuum to this place that I call the X Zone. So from everyone here to everyone out there, if you can help somebody out, make a difference in their life, a positive difference, please do so, because we are our brother's keepers. And always remember to keep your eyes to the sky and your heart to the light. Good night, everyone.